Welcome to episode 4 of the AI Search Report. Today we'll answer, is Google's new agentic mode the death of websites? What happens to CTR when AI overviews are present? And is ChatGPT going to launch ads soon? And what will that look like? I'm your host, Nathan Gotch, and this episode is brought to you by Rankability, AI SEO software that helps you rank everywhere customers are searching. Let's dive right in. So Google is starting to test using agentic browsing and actual actions within AI mode right now. So I'm going to show you an example of what this looks like. So I'm here in AI mode and you can see I ran a query which was find me a dinner reservation for 3 people this Friday after 6 p.m. around Town and Country, Missouri. And so what it did is it went out, obviously searched through Google business profiles, came back, and because of its integration with OpenTable, I'm actually able to book a table all through AI mode. So I don't actually even need to leave AI mode at all to actually go and book this anymore. Now, this is something you need to be paying attention to because once again, this is a situation where Google's trying to create a closed environment. And basically what Google wants and what all the platforms want in reality is keep users contained on the platform. And you can see this with Amazon as well. Now with Amazon having Rufus, Rufus basically is their AI, they trained Rufus on literally all of Amazon's products. Okay. And so now when you go onto Amazon and let's say you're interested in a product, but you have like some specific question, you can ask Rufus and it will answer that question for you. And so recently Amazon just said that this has added like an extra $1 billion of revenue to their top line just by having Rufus being able to answer these questions. And so why is that? Well, number one, instead of someone having a question and then them going to Google to find the answer, they don't have to do that anymore. They can just answer, they can ask that question directly inside of Amazon and they don't need to ever leave Amazon, right? So it's the same thing with Google. Google wants to contain you on Google. They don't want you to leave. And this is why in AI mode, especially for local queries, you'll see that the sources of retrieval are almost always local business profiles, Google business profiles. And so that means that Google is recommending its own products as a source of retrieval. Okay. So it's, and so the reason why this is very important is because this will influence websites, right? Like if you don't even need a user to go to your website, is there any point of, blowing 20 grand on a new site design when you can just sign up for OpenTable and, basically get the same outcome? So these are questions that businesses are going to have to start thinking about. And by the way, I'm not saying websites are gone. We still have a lot. There's still a lot that has to happen. But for certain industries, this is definitely a reality that's coming into play here. This is not new though. And we can see here, with AI mode, they're starting to test this in beta, but this has already been going on. So like in Gemini, you can go and use Google Chrome and use the Gemini integration. You can kind of conduct similar searches, but Gemini's not super advanced at this point. So it will give you recommendations, but it won't actually go and like take action for you. And so some of the other agentic browsers are able to do this. So like right now we're looking at Perplexity Comet. It can go and actually like book it for you. Now you have to go through and confirm a lot of its actions, but it can do this. Same with the new browser from ChatGPT as well, Atlas. Same thing here. You can see it actually went through this whole agentic process. And at the end, it asked, would you like me to begin the booking process for any of these restaurants? Okay. And so it already put me on OpenTable. So it would actually, all I'd have to say is, yeah, book us for Bishop's Post. It would go through that process and get us to the very end. And then you would confirm that decision. So this is the new reality of, first of all, how browsers are going to be working, but also just in general, a very unique situation where not a single website was visited here other than OpenTable. All right. So this is something we need to be thinking about, but it makes me think of this simple analogy, which I use quite a bit, which is, when it comes to mowing your lawn, you have a lot of options. You could use scissors, but it would take you all day. Or now at this point, there actually are agentic, / robotic mowers that you can use. So you can literally, it's funny, you can tell this is AI generated because he's got 3 arms. They haven't worked that out yet, but you can actually mow your lawn with a robot. Okay. And so the reason why I'm saying this is because all of this stuff we're seeing here with the agentic browsers, and really how search is changing. one of the biggest things about search that's changing is that humans don't really need to search very much anymore. Okay. And we can see this not just in this context, but even when ChatGPT uses retrieval and you go and see all of the sources that it goes through. I just did a search today. It went through 106 sources for one query. Now you think about if you had to go through 106 sources to try to come to a conclusion, how long that would take you. It's pretty significant. So I truly believe the days of humans opening up blue links and having like 5 million tabs to try to find something, I do think those days are gone. Sure, there might be some people that are romantic about doing that, but the reality, and there's some people that still cut their lawn with scissors. I don't know. Maybe that does happen, but over time, efficiency will win out. Right. And naturally, that is the progression that we are going to go towards. And I believe that search in general, one of the biggest changes, not that search is going away. Search is never going away. People are going to continue to search for solutions to their product, solutions that lead to products and services that solve those solutions. But how we search is changing. And I think that the AI is going to basically take a lot of that away from us and is going to be doing a lot of that heavy lifting of searching for answers to our problems. Okay. I just think that that's the reality. Okay. Next one here is AI overviews drive 61% drop in organic CTR and 68% drop in paid. So no surprise here. That when AI products are visible, CTR decreases dramatically. And I'll show you kind of an example of this. So I showed this actually on my main channel, on my main YouTube channel at Nathan Gotch. Published a video recently about CTR and how it's been declining historically. And you can see, back here in the good old days, 2006, 10 blue links, there actually were studies that showed that CTR was as high as 90%, meaning for every query that was conducted, 90%, like a click would land on the top 10, 90% of the time. Okay. That did happen. But over time, you can see how it's gotten progressively worse. So we went from like basically incredible CTR down to about 50% CTR in 2011. And these are all averages based on all the studies that were out during those times. 45% in 2019, down to 33% in 2020, 33%. And then in 2025 down to 15 and so on and so forth, progressively gets worse. My prediction is we'll be sub 10% CTR on Google probably next year. That's my prediction. So, but why? Why has this happened? Well, number one, the 10 blue links were really simple, right? It was just 10 blue links and it made CTR very, very good. Like it's just going to happen because it was so simple. But over time, Google has added so many products to the search results that naturally is going to take someone's attention away from clicking. And so a couple of things is universal search, right? So, when they integrated the local pack and the news and video packs and all those things, that was the universal search movement in the SERPs. Then knowledge graph, right? Like where Google can actually answer questions directly on Google without you having to click. Introducing people also ask, so the ability to like ask multiple questions in one search result, which then allows Google to answer more questions in the search results without users having to actually click through. And then of course the infamous featured snippets, which really killed clicks significantly and basically allowed people to get an answer to their question by Google going and stealing that information from a publisher and then doing it like that. Now that was phase one, because phase two basically eliminates all this stuff altogether, because AI overviews, AI mode, web guide, all these new products that Google's launching, they're designed to eradicate clicks, right? And Google's number one goal is to answer as many questions as they possibly can without anyone having to click through to a website. Right? Let's just be honest here. That's what Google wants. And they'll never admit that, of course. We can see the reality of what's going on. You can't just look at this data and say that that's not what Google's trying to do. Google is it's very clear. It's taken a long time, 2006, but we're here 20 years later and we're getting close to maybe sub 10% CTR on a query. Okay, so this is where we are going, and this is the new reality of doing SEO in general, right? Our goal is not anymore just to rank in the traditional SERPs, which it is, because that's one goal because it's critical for feeding the AI. But our number one goal now should be to influence the AI generated responses, right? We need to influence the answers that are pushed out by the AI. That's what we must be focused on. But just to put a little perspective on this, even at its lowest point in history, search still is driving about 15% CTR. So it's still significantly higher than, our other options out there. Okay. We've got YouTube, which actually has good CTR, by the way. If you put a link in your description or in your pinned comment, it actually has relatively good CTR. And in fact, it's one of my biggest traffic sources in our business. Then we also have email. Email's typically 3 to 5% CTR for a broadcast typically. And then AI and social have sub 1% CTR, like really, really horrible CTR on these platforms. So when you think about, AI and social, the thing you need to be thinking about is that we need to drive brand visibility on these platforms with the intent to either A, drive direct traffic to the website, either by a recommendation that it gives to the user or through branded queries, right? So the idea is like, they're going to go through the compressed sales journey inside of an AI chat window. By the end of that, they become brand aware. And when they become brand aware, let's say they go to Google and they conduct a branded search, or maybe they conduct that branded search even on ChatGPT, and that leads them to your brand to actually go and buy something. Okay. That's the idea. And yes, it's not as quantifiable and easy to track, but that's the reality of what kind of modern day AI SEO is going to look like. And then we also see that ChatGPT ads are coming very, very soon, according to Search Engine Land, which they actually just pulled from an interview that Sam Altman just had. Sam Altman is the founder of OpenAI, or one of the founders of OpenAI. And he said that ads on a Google search are dependent on Google doing badly. And so they're saying that they don't want to go that route if they're going to put ads into ChatGPT. So obviously this is something that you need to be paying attention to, because if ads do get deployed on ChatGPT, just like how it happened on Google, CTR is going to be affected, right? And depending on how aggressive they are with those ads, the worse it will affect, CTR, right? So I would assume over time, they're going to be rolling these out very slowly. And then once they see how much money it makes, they'll probably roll them out a lot more. That's just the natural progression of these platforms. So whatever, they're saying is not going to be what they'll be doing. More than likely, they're just going to do whatever's going to make them the most money. And so more than likely we will see ads. And the truth is, if there is an ad product in ChatGPT, it's going to be probably a really good ad product, especially if they allow you to target the way that, you probably could, like on Meta. Now on Meta, you don't really even need to do targeting anymore, but they have a very sophisticated ad product. And obviously OpenAI does not have a sophisticated ad product. They've never done advertising in their platform. So they're going to have a lot of catch up to do, but there's already a proven blueprint. But man, the amount of deep personalized type of ad targeting you could do in ChatGPT based on all of the information they have now about users could be one of the greatest ad products ever at this point. So definitely something I'll be paying attention to, but it certainly is going to influence the organic side of getting brand mentions because naturally as there's more ads, there's going to be a decrease in CTR.